was hoping you're no good.
I think you'll enjoy listening in booth 3.
Animation is quite different than live action. In one sense, I think of a live action film like a musician or a band, live performers. You know, everything's sort of happening on set at one moment. Whereas in animation, the musicians are sort of studio performers, where you can go into the studio, you record every single track, and then you have endless control to like turn knobs and dials. Concept art, and even specifically a lot of the concept art done by Eric Yohn, drives a lot of the storytelling. We'll have an idea, we'll be working with the writer in terms of like where we want to go in the direction of the film, and Eric can draw in one image 5 or 6 of the story points.
This is fantastic!
He's not just like drawing a character, he's drawing the character, but he's drawing a context, he's drawing an idea, he's drawing a concept.
Give you a sense of where the character is at that particular point in their arc.
And so you see how characters are reacting to that moment, and that's an infinite source of inspiration for us.
The writer can be looking at that one image, and a whole scene can come into their imagination.
The storyboard process is really the blueprint for the whole movie.
The head of story, who was the lead of the storyboard artist, so it just allowed us to deliver him the pitch, what we need, and then what's the interpretation of the sequence.
The animation process is so time-consuming and expensive that it's much more efficient to have artists do rough panels of the whole movie.
It's also a place where we look for a lot of the comedy and a lot of the visual gags.
Add an image to uphold here.
There's a casting that happens just like you would cast for actors.
All of them have a different sensibility. You know that some people is going to be more on the emotional side, and then other people is going to be more into the action side.
They can just draw incredible action, choreography. You can see in the way that their boards cut together editorially a real strong sense of the staging and the dynamics there. We tend to look at a sequence and think about what's the most important thing that needs to be conveyed on that and infuse visual ideas that are hard to get down on paper with text.
My first evil lair, goosebumps!
Once we've made all of our decisions and we're really happy with the storytelling in the storyboard form, then we go into the much more time-consuming and expensive CG animation phase.
This is when, in a technical sense, all the assets are pulled together, all the characters, all the set pieces, the camera.
They are the first bridge between the 2D concept, I mean the storyboard, and then the starting of the real 3D scene that we have in animation.
So it's kind of like rough blocking.
I can dig it. Yeah, I can dig it. Groovy.
On the creative front, it's where the visual storytelling takes place. This is where we're picking what particular lenses we're going to use. A long lens to kind of like flatten everything out to make it feel a little bit crushed, or a really wide open lens to make things feel more dynamic. Are we using an upshot to make a character look really imposing, or a downshot to make them look sort of innocent and vulnerable? From layout, it then goes into animation.
That is pretty cool.
This is really the performance. In the meantime, we've recorded the voice actors, and then the animator listens to this and tries to craft a performance that's going to be entertaining, it's going to be believable, and it's going to make the audience have empathy for these characters. In some cases, the voice actors, certainly in the case of Steve Carell, will ad-lib and give you a lot of material that's not on the page.
Well, see you later, alligator. Translation, I'm gonna die. Good night and good luck.
The scripts are so good and you have so much to work with, but they're always having you try it different ways and bringing, your own ideas into the fray.
In some cases, it's just a way that the actor might read the line so much better than even you could imagine.
Can you dig it?
When they surprise us and do something unexpected, often that'll find its way into the animation performance.
When you are an animator and when you're listening to those voices, this is the base of the inspiration of how you're going to represent the movement and how you're going to represent the emotion.
Alan, I'm coming for you.
One thing that an animator is looking for is the subtext, the things that the character is not saying. And how do you get a particular texture of the way that they say a word if they're pretending to be happy, for example?
Kind of a funny story.
Give it to him.
What are you using? Maybe little throat clears or little pauses even between words. Even just an eye dart or like the raise of an eyebrow or something subtle that makes the audience clear of what that character is thinking and feeling in that moment.
Steve Carell obviously is someone who knows about facial expressions and gestures, so we capture everything he does on camera and we give it to the animators to use as inspiration.
Here comes Crow!
And then finally from there, it goes to the other side of the job that normally a director of photography would share, which is layout on one hand, the cinematography, and lighting. So now we're dealing with the color temperatures, how shadow and light play on the characters.
We're just trying to search for a specific feeling into the picture.
How can you drive emotion with light? Getting all the textures of the characters, the fabrics of the clothing that they're wearing.
It's not just making them realistic, it's stylizing what we know as human and just make it even better.
And that's when your movie goes from looking like some weird abstract thing to art. It really comes to life.
Finally, all that gets put all together. The dialogue, the music is written, all the sound effects, it's all mixed into the film. And at the end, you have the result that you see on screen.